Hi everyone, my name's Hashir and I'm a software engineer at Scalekit. Scalekit powers the authentication infrastructure for AI and B2B apps. Product and engineering teams can offload custom identity and user complexities to Scalekit for a more seamless authentication experience. So today I'm going to be walking you through an end-to-end demo of Scalekit. We're going to be using Coffeedesk, a project management app that uses Scalekit for its authentication flows to show B2B patterns that teams need the most. Let's jump in. The core user onboarding and login experience. Coffeedesk uses Scalekit's hosted Auth UI, and all login methods are modular, which means you can turn them on or off without touching Coffeedesk's front-end code. When a user clicks sign up, Coffeedesk immediately hands it off to Scalekit's UI. Even though it's hosted by Scalekit, it's fully branded, anywhere from the logo to the colors to the layout, so it feels completely native. In this case, we're going to be signing up using an OTP. The OTP is a separate module that, once enabled, it appears here automatically. The OTP email is also Coffeedesk branded, and Scalekit supports deep email customization, where teams can bring their own email provider for deliverability and branding control. So I'm going to be using this OTP right here to log in. And upon the first sign up, Scalekit automatically creates a new organization for the user. That's the default B2B model. No extra provisioning required from Coffeedesk. So I'm going to create my new organization right here, and I'm going to call it Supersoft LLC. Once the organization settings have been entered, we'll be redirected straight into the Coffeedesk workspace. So now we'll log out and we'll sign in using a social login, in this case Google's login. Even though this is a different login method, Scalekit maps it to the same underlying identity so that there's no duplicate user created. So I'm going to be using this, same email, different login method, and I land back into the same workspace with the same organization created. So this is a key B2B ergonomic detail. Next, we'll log out again, and this time we're going to use the Magic Link login. Like OTP, Magic Link is modular, and it's enabled in Scalekit directly and appears in the hosted UI. So before we click the link, here's a B2B security control feature that Scalekit offers, blocking disposable or public domains. So in this case, if I were to use my public domain email, hashirlukman@gmail.com, Scalekit will enforce this automatically at signup, so Coffeedesk doesn't maintain or allow regex rules. So if I click here, it's going to show that personal email addresses can be used to sign up. Please use your work email. So now, if we log into Coffeedesk with our work email, we'll get sent the magic link right here. One optional layer teams can enable is single origin magic links. If a login starts in one browser, then the magic link must be open in that same browser, as we see right here. Users will not be allowed to use the magic link in different browsers. They'll be expected to use it within the same browser. And here we have it. These controls can be configured in Scalekit, but enforced live inside Coffeedesk. Under the hood, Enterprise Access is powered by Scalekit's Enterprise Auth module. So this gives Coffeedesk Security Assertion Markup Language, or SAML, as well as OpenID Connect, or OIDC SSO type connections with Okta, Entra ID, Ping Identity, and many other options, all configured by Coffeedesk's customer IT team. Every enterprise organization gets an admin portal to configure their SSOs. You can embed this directly inside your application or give customers a standalone link. So I'm going to show you the standalone flow first. So over here you can see the admin portal, and I can just click generate link right here, and the link is provided, expires in 6 days, and you can just copy and paste this, the admin. So I'm just going to open the link right here, and in the admin portal you have the option to configure SSO with the IDP of your choice. And in this case I'm going to select Okta, I'm going to select SAML 2.0 and I'm going to click configure. So it gives me all the information that I need along with the configuration of the attributes. There's a need help section right here. So if I click this, the documentation is embedded into the link itself so that users can refer to the support documentation in case they feel lost or confused. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up. After following the documentation and implementing the SSO connection, we can see that it is now tested and functional. We can click enable connection and the connection will be enabled successfully. The SSO has already been configured right here. So jumping back into Coffeedesk, you can also see the same setup embedded right here. If I click Enterprise Auth, it's going to see the same thing right here with the Okta SAML that's currently enabled. Okay, now let's log out and sign in as a brand new employee to show just-in-time provisioning. I'm going to log out from here. Okay, and now that we're logged out, we're going to go back to the organization dashboard in Scalekit. And while we configured the SSO connection for Supersoft Inc., we're going to be using a different SSO connection from a different organization called FoodCorp Enterprises. So if we go here, we'll see that the organization domain has been configured to accept users from foodcorp.com. And we'll see that there are only 2 users right now that are available, which are John Abraham and Nate Smith. So we're going to see what just-in-time provisioning is going to look like for a brand new user that's not currently registered in the dashboard. So we're going to sign in. We're going to sign in and we're going to enter a Ron Smith who just recently joined FoodCorp. Sorry, Ron Williams who recently joined FoodCorp. At foodcorp.com. And we'll see that on the first SSO login, Scalekit automatically creates the user profile and adds them to the org. No invites needed. So over here, what I'm going to do is Ron Williams at foodcorp.com. And I am going to enter his password. So this is enabled because the domain is verified on Scalekit and home realm discovery is enabled. And if we look at the members, if we look at the dashboard first, we'll see that we are now logged in into FoodCorp Enterprises with the projects and tasks available from their space. And if we look at the members section in the dashboard, so if I were to refresh this, the user is already here with a default role applied through the enterprise policy. Now let's stay inside an organization and walk through how Coffeedesk manages everything around it, from org settings to users to invites, roles, and domain rules that are all powered by Scalekit, embedded directly inside Coffeedesk. So at the organization levels, admins can rename their workspace, update metadata, and manage org settings right here in Coffeedesk. Even though this feels native to Coffeedesk, the Scalekit is the system of record for the organization. Just to showcase this, I'm going to be renaming Supersoft LLC to Supersoft Inc. So as we see here, as an admin, I'm going to change the name and it's saved. And if I click refresh, you'll see that the organization has been renamed to Supersoft Inc. And it cascades right here in Scalekit as it's the system of record. Now, next up, users inside of the organization. We're going to pull up the members section. And the members list is pulled directly from Scalekit, so Coffeedesk doesn't maintain a separate user store. Inviting a teammate is built in. Scalekit handles the email delivery, invite tokens, verification, and even the state transitions. Let's move on right here, and we're going to move on to the roles tab over here. So first, the app level roles. These are standard roles like Coffeedesk. These are standard roles that Coffeedesk defines for everyone, like admin, project manager, project exec, intern. They're global and consistent across every organization. The second part, there are custom org-specific roles. Each organization can create roles that are unique to them, layered on top of Coffeedesk's global RBAC. For example, this org might create a delivery manager role to showcase how they run projects internally. So I could create a role right here. I'll say display name, delivery manager, and manages projects internally. So these custom roles are still mapped to real Coffeedesk backend permissions, but they give the customer the flexibility B2B SaaS teams expect. In this case, the delivery manager is going to assume the role of the admin, and they can also be assigned specific permissions if they don't have them. So if we don't want to, we can clear selection, and we can give them specific permissions like manage, write, and read, and maybe not organization settings. And we can create this. And if we go back to roles, you'll see the role of delivery manager right here. Okay, over here we're going to be talking about org level domain rules. Admins can choose which corporate domains can join this organization, and Scalekit enforces that automatically during sign up and login. So over here in Coffeedesk, we can go to security and we can configure email domains. Allowed email domain. They're going to be using supersoft.com as their email domain. So if we click add, we'll see this right here. It's added within Coffeedesk, but Scalekit is managing the allowed email domains feature. We'll refresh this and it automatically cascades into the dashboard. So Scalekit will enforce this on the back end while it's still completely visible on the front end with Coffeedesk. A single Scalekit user can belong to multiple organizations. The org switcher lets them choose where they want to work without duplicating accounts, as we are about to see. Logging in as a one John Abraham. There we have it. And as we see right here, whether they are logged in with SSO, Google, OTP, or Magic Link, Scalekit keeps it in one unified identity tied to the right organization memberships and roles, as we see right here. So within organizations, Coffeedesk gets embedded into org settings, members, and invite workflows, role-based access control, domain policies, and seamless multi-org switching, all powered end-to-end by Scalekit. Now, let's look at one of the most impactful upgrades in modern authentication, Passkeys. Coffeedesk enables them with a single toggle in Scalekit, just as we see right here, instantly giving users a phishing-proof login method with no passwords, no OTPs, and no shared secrets. Now, I'm going to log in into my account. For now, I'm going to be using the Google login, or in this case, the Google login, as I haven't configured the passkey yet. So because passkeys are modular in Scalekit, Coffeedesk didn't build the UI. So as we see over here, we have the passkey options under user profiles. So I'm gonna add a passkey. So this UI was not built by Coffeedesk, it was built by Scalekit. Users can click add passkey. And in this case, I can add the passkey that I have set for my MacBook, which is the Touch ID. And that's really all there is to it. So it now recognizes it through Google Password Manager, since I'm using Chrome, that I have added a passkey on a Mac OS in my current location. So now I'm going to be going through the same login flow, but this time I'm going to be using my passkey since I have it configured. So I'm going to log out. Let's see. And now that I'm back at the main page, or the landing page, I'm going to click sign in. And this time around, I'm going to click continue with passkey. And as you can see, the passkey that I've configured is set up. And I have basically logged in into the same organization and the same account that I've previously had before. So in the event that a user wants to make changes to their passkeys, we can just go back to the page And as we see here, we still have the same passkey that we've set up the last time. And if a user wants to edit or delete, they simply can do it with these two options over here. Once MCP servers are remote, you definitely need to have an auth layer. Since it's remote, anyone can access them, and you don't want those resources going into the incorrect person's access. Over here we have MCP Jam set up, so this is going to be the client that we're using. And since this is our first time accessing Coffeedesk as an intern, we're going to be entering the link, HTTPS. There we have it. So we're going to be accessing the MCP server through that link. We're going to click Add Server, and the auth flow is going to trigger. I'm going to use Nate Smith, who's an intern at Food Corp Enterprises. And I'll enter Nate's details. And there we have it. So now that Nate's access to the MCP server, you can see what the MCP server provides right here. We're going to click Authorize. Now that Nate's logged in, we're going to take a quick peek at the tools so we can see what the MCP server provides, from getting the projects to creating them to deleting projects, along with tasks and manipulating members in the workspace. But let's see if Nate has the ability to access all of these things. I'm going to be using Cloud Sonnet for this. So I'm going to say, show me all the projects in Coffeedesk. So Nate wants to know what's going on. He's a brand new intern. He doesn't know what exactly is going on at the moment, so he wants to see the projects. And as we can see, the LLM invoked the tools in the MCP server, or one tool in the MCP server, and we see all the projects in the workspace. We see that, hey, one of it's assigned to him. And Nate thinks it's complete, it's done. So you know what Nate's going to say, can you delete, what's this one called? Plastering. The plastering work project. So I'm going to type this in, and let's see if the MCP server goes ahead and does that. So the MCP server tries to invoke the tool. However, it's unable to do so because Nate, being an intern, doesn't have the necessary permissions, right scope, to perform delete operations. So this is basically where we see user scope enforcement, and that's why information is still safe within Coffeedesk, because Nate was not granted the permissions. And this is what Scalekit offers. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. If you want to try any of these flows yourself, check out the Scalekit docs right here. For quick starts, guides, and examples. We are adding new modules and MCP patterns all the time, so it's the best place to go deeper. See you in the next one.